secret sauce of cooperation between a startup and a brick and mortar company?
The main ingredient of the secret sauce is understanding and embracing each other's differences and needs and expectations. We need to be sure that the startup has to be aware that some things can take longer. We need to be aware that they need our answers as fast as possible because they are a company that sometimes rely on us. So for sure, being honest with each other it's one element. And the second element is these expectations that I mentioned before. Expectations regarding what happens next, because we all both start the cooperation with the best intentions. We all want to make an innovation that would change the world or change the way our organization work. First, we test the solution. We pilot the solution on a smaller scale to make sure it works. And then we'll hope that there will be this commercial rollout to a much bigger scale.
But this is all this unpredictable reality.
Exactly.
You cannot predict the final output.
Exactly. I think then understanding that this is a risky business, working with those two different worlds, this is something we need to understand. Also from a perspective of, a CEO of a big organization or a director in a big organization, but also from a CEO of a startup. We start together, we want to do something great, but this is risky. We can fail, and we need to take that into consideration regarding also the way we plan our business, we plan our budget. So kind of understanding that there is a risk of failure and that whenever it happens, we have to take lessons out of it. This is something that should be very well understood from the very beginning. And I think this kind of sets the right pace for the cooperation as well.
Okay, and now a question about measurement, about indicators, about metrics of success.
Yes, so that's always a difficult question because it's easiest when we can tell you or to our board that will bring this and this savings, or this will be a new revenue stream, and we all hope for that. But because this is a risky business, we need to take risks. We need to understand that sometimes it's good to kind of invest in the beginning and see the benefits maybe coming a bit later, and they can be tangible. So that can be very clear savings. Like we had a big implementation with a blockchain startup when we could bring on a single basis 8 million Polish zloty savings, and this was something very particular and that we can put in the table and in Excel, and that's nice. But then, for instance, we have a different startup that is improving the way our consultants work in branches, and it can be translated after a certain period of time regarding how time it takes to serve one customer. Then it brings this and this savings, for instance. But the first thing is that our customer experience, and the customer here is the employee actually, that's something that improved. What improved is, for instance, the onboarding of a new employee. And this is something that is slightly more difficult to evaluate, but this is something extremely important. Another thing is the user experience, the customer experience, the end one. So, for instance, we have a solution that is implemented in our mobile application that allows for scanning invoices, so then you don't have to, when you want to pay the invoice, you don't have to put all the data in your phone, but it kind of goes automatically to the transfer. And this is something that we will not have a very particular new revenue stream from that, or this clear savings.
Year data comparison, net promoter score.
Yeah, that can be evaluated. Exactly. That's something less tangible regarding money. But the tangible part is the experience that we provide for the clients, or the added value we can provide for them. So, for instance, if we can retain the clients, if we can keep them with us, because, for instance, we provide all those value-added services, legal services, vindication services, for SMEs. And they want to stay with us because they all get all that extra services within their account. So, if they stay with us, and one of the reasons is that we provided that together with startup. This is a clear value provided by that cooperation.
Value, risky business, unpredictable business results, and you mentioned honesty as well. And here we have the article from the last Time magazine that this is the end of the unicorn. So there is this atmosphere of mythical, unrealistic evaluations of unicorns, of startups. So how would you comment on this?
I think kind of recent events that WeWork exactly. This changed a lot the perspective on startups. Startups were evaluated based on potential, not necessarily on numbers. So I think a lot of investors started kind of checking the numbers more and more, and I think this is the change that we'll be seeing more and more now. That the due diligence will be kind of getting stronger whenever you think about investing in startups. But to be honest, from a business perspective, when we work with startups, we don't really look at them whether this is a unicorn potential or not. We look at the business value they bring, and that was always from the very beginning the way we looked at the startup ecosystem, and that's what we were always focused. So for us, I think it doesn't really change that much whether this is a unicorn or not. The question is there a business potential for us? Do they bring something to our organization or to our customers? And where is that business match in the end?
Okay. What is the key challenge for startups in Poland right now?
Actually, recently we've reviewed, we analyzed 100 companies, 100 startups that cooperate with or have potential to cooperate with banks. We kind of did that research, and we wanted to check what they think about the cooperation with the banks, but also what are the big challenges for them. They've mentioned two things. One thing is access to capital, that it's one of the biggest problems, and another is the innovation culture. So I think from the first element, so the access to capital, there's a lot of money in the market now that you can receive when you start a company, but this is mostly for like the seed or pre-seed rounds, so in the very beginning. When you want to grow, there is a problem to get like proper support. So I think with startups in Poland now, there is this challenge of growing and scaling their business because Poland is a big country, and you can kind of feel, okay, I'm operating here, I already have some scale, but if you want to really grow, it's in the end
exponential growth.
Exponential, or just like start thinking beyond the borders. That's what startups from Baltic countries are doing, because those markets are like just smaller, and whenever the company starts, they already think about international expansion.
Born global company.
This is always a challenge for companies in Poland, but I think they are kind of doing a good job, so fingers crossed. The second element is the innovation culture, and I think the companies that are working in B2C model, they can see a lot of change in the customers' minds, that customers are more and more into the new technologies, into those new applications and so on. So I think there will be a big growth of companies in the B2C model, but actually majority of companies, startups in Poland, are working in B2B. So they offer their solutions to business, also to big corporations, and probably the answer regarding the innovation culture was regarding the big corporations. And yes, I think this is still probably a biggest challenge, because as I said, in the end, that are people working with people, so we need to keep an open mind and kind of stay open to what's different, what's tech in the market.
So curiosity leadership, scanning the environment for some things that make you curious.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, the last question is about the career tip for our students in general management, finance, etc.
I would recommend them to keep their open mind whenever choosing a career. Whatever you study doesn't really determine you where you'll end up. And given the market how it looks now and all these great small startups, tech companies, I think actually it's a nice place to work because this way you can tap into many different things. You have to take on different roles. And I believe that when you work in those smaller agile tech companies, you can learn much faster than in kind of pursuing maybe the traditional professional roles, I think.
Okay, thank you
Thank
for
you
this
very much.
interview.